Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Similimodo. Today we'll be diving deep into the most debated topic in the tech world, Android versus iOS. Which one is better? Which one suits your need more? We'll break it down in this video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for more tech insights. Operating systems in iOS and Android is a debate that a lot of people have had, but some of them might not even know what an operating system is. I will break it down. An operating system in smartphone is the software foundation that controls how the device functions, how it manages applications, and how it interacts with the hardware. They provide the user interface and the platform for running various applications. The two dominant ones in smartphones is the iOS for Apple devices, where is mine? This, and then the Android for the Samsung or the Google Pixel. Meanwhile, Google is the developer for the Android and Apple developed the iOS. So that will be our main concern for today. Which of these two operating systems suits your need more, and which of them will you prefer in certain areas? So the first is we will talk about the features that these two devices provide. Both Android and iOS are packed with powerful features, but they cater to different types of users. Android devices offer a vast array of features ranging from simple gestures to complex multitasking capabilities. Features like the split screen for multitasking. Custom widgets can always be customized as you want. You are not restricted whatsoever, so you can make the widget as tiny as you want, as big as you want, as customizable as you want. We'll come to customizability, but Android phones are usually known for giving you that ability to customize your widgets, and is no different in the Android that we are running in our today's devices. And another feature that I love to talk about in Android is going to be the Google Assistant and its fleets of Google integrations with almost all the Google apps like Google Maps, Google Gmail, and whatsoever, Google Assistant and all those. So those are the type of features that you will have in Android. Those features still exist somehow in iOS, but it's designed to fit into the Android operating system more, unlike the iPhone. And also another thing is the deep integration with Google services that I've mentioned. It is part of the strength of this, so bear that in mind. But if we come back to the Apple ecosystem, which is the iOS for this category, you will see that the iOS is also known for its polished user experience, and then they offer you features such as FaceTime, iMessage, AirDrop, and Siri, and this provides consistent integrated experience across not just your iOS devices but across all the Apple ecosystem. So bear that in mind. Apple also tries to focus when developing their iOS on privacy, making sure that data do not enter the hands of who do not need those data or who do not own those data. So it is tightly integrated with the features such as app tracking, transparency, and then Face ID sensitivity. The Face ID in Android works, but the Face ID in the Apple ecosystem works better and it's more secured for everything you do. So in essence, if you are looking to have an advanced features that integrates with a lot of the Google services, or be able to do your basic tasks, like when you enjoy the multitasking split screen capabilities that these Android phones provides you due to the Android app, then you can go for the Android. The Android will win in this category. But for users who want their applications to be across the board because they are in maybe an Apple ecosystem and all that, the Apple will work more for those type of users, or users who cherishes their privacy experience. When you know that your phone or your operating system offers a lot more secured operating system for your users, then I would encourage you to go towards the Apple iOS and buy any of the. You don't need to go for the Pro Max or the Pros lineup. We have the normal iPhone, which is in this day and age, the latest is gonna be the iPhone 15 lineup, which comes with iPhone and the iPhone Pro lineup. So bear that in mind. So, but in this category, I will give the win easily to Android because of the features that they have or they offer that this device cannot be able to perform those tasks. So things like split screen, Apple cannot do that. Things like simple gestures, like even in this day and age, the AI capability in the features in the Android versus this is still better here. So I will give it to the Android in terms of features. Now, this moves us back to the second category, which is the customization. Primarily, when it comes to customization, I will just say that from the start, Android takes the lead. There is no difference. Apple is playing a catch-up in this. So in the Android, when you open the home screen, the Android allows you to customize nearly every aspect of your home screen. You can add widgets, and those widgets can be customized as you want. It can be small or big. You can change your themes and even gain more controls by using a third-party launcher to be able to transform your device completely. The settings in the Android in this regard opens an extended system settings that allows you to tweak your device performance, your battery settings, and basically more and more and more. So when you talk about the customization, Android will give you a lot more. But let's talk about also customization in the iOS counterpart. The iOS, they have now given us widgets, ability to do widgets, but bear in mind, you have to do it the Apple way. So Apple has the smaller widgets, the mid-level widgets that will go from the beginning of your screen to the end, but then with the occupying a tiny space, and then the larger one. So we have 3 different sets of widgets that we can add as at now for the iPhone, but it does not come as customizable as the Android counterpart. And then Apple also focuses on the simplicity when it comes to the limited customization. They want their app to have a certain representation in your screen, and you might not be able to zoom it in and out. You can also be able to now move any application at any point in your screen without any much interference. Before, Apple never allowed us to do that. But in the coming operating system update, which is the iOS 18, it will be able for us to be able to move our applications to anywhere we want. But we're still lagging behind. I would say that Apple is still lagging behind in terms of the customization. So I will give it to Android in this regard. So Android has these 2 first features, which is the feature and the customizability. Android has the lead over Apple. Now that brings us to the third aspect of this video that I will be looking at, which is the easy to use category. So the easy to use category is where iOS shines. You know, when you bring out iOS out of the box, it offers you just a very simple UI that is very, very user intuitive and straightforward to use. So for anyone who is picking it up, you will pick up a phone that you will be able to navigate, even if you are new with the Apple ecosystem, and also this is also going to be very consistent with all your iPhones. Make no mistake about it. And the accessibility part, Apple will be focuses to ensure that the iOS is usable by people with various disability, with the features such as voiceover, magnifier, and assistive touch. This enables any person, even with disability, to still be able to use their iPhone right off the bat. But for Android, the problem here is the flexibility, because Android is an operating system that a lot of companies, not just Google who developed it, use it, right? So you will be thinking about that type of versatility will bring a lot more complex situations. For example, in this, we have the Samsung S24 Ultra. The feel and the usability in this, the way you use this phone functions normally, is kind of different from the another Android, which is the Pixel 7 Pro that I'm gonna be letting go this week. So when you look at it, it now gives you kind of a sense that if you move from one Android phone or Android device to another, there will be a change, which makes it difficult for people to keep track of, and then that affects the easy to use category. So I think in terms of the simplicity, I will give the iOS a lead in this category because it's simplicity to use out of the box, and then why Android offers a very much complex and caters to a more complex streams of users. The problem that we will face with our Android device is going to be that because of the versatility of the device companies that uses Android, it makes it a lot different to be able to get them to have a unified user experience. And so that is where the iPhone will take a lead in this category. The next category will be the update and support. For update and support, when we buy these phones, especially when we buy these expensive phones, you want to make sure that the support you get if anything goes wrong is top-notch, and the update that you get also is going to come handy to address some of the things that is lacking. Like, for example, there might be bugs, and then those updates will easily fix them. So for this category, I will give it slightly to Apple. Apple will take a lead, and I will explain why. So in this, Apple, you expect a timely update here. And Apple is known for providing those updates in a timely fashion across all its devices simultaneously. So for example, if an upgrade or an update is launched for the iOS 17.1, for example, it will be available across all the Apple devices, both the iPhone that are not the Pro levels and the Pro levels. But then I will get to the Android and we'll see the difference. And also the support for the older iPhones, they continue to receive updates as well, making the iOS device a long-term investment. And this is also why, or probably why, I don't want to make it the primary point, but it's also part of the factors that makes iPhones to retain more of its value because of how Apple supports the users of their products. So, and also to bear that in mind, Apple has, especially in the Western countries like the US, UK, and so many other European countries falls into this category. Or Apple has Apple stores around, and when you buy their devices and they're still under warranty, you can easily walk in there and then be able to either have them repair it or give you the support that you need, or they can even exchange the phone if it's still under warranty for you. I'm not sure from my experience that you will get that in the Android counterparts. So for updates and support for Android, yes, Android has their own part of this. For Android operating systems that are beginning to give way more in terms of the years of the support that they will give for updates to happen in these devices. But it is not going to be as close as what Apple will give you in terms of making their stores very close to the users in most markets for you to walk in there. And also because of the different devices that this supports, it makes it difficult for you to get a consistent update across all the device lineup that Android supports. So let me give you an example with what I'm saying to make it a lot more clearer. For example, let's say we do the Android 14 or 15 as the case may be, upgrade 14.1. Yes, it might come to Samsung Ultra phones first before it gets to some other Samsung like the A55 and all those. And also it might come to the Google first before Samsung. So there is no consistent release of those updates because of the wide variety of the device and the companies that choose to go the Android route. So because of that, I will give Apple a lead in terms of the updates and support. Then this brings me to the fifth category in this video, which is the applications that these two platforms offer. In this category is quite dicey, but let me start first with the Android. So the Android has a lot of varieties of applications that you will get through the Play Store that Google offers. So this includes a lot of varieties of apps that may not even in some cases be in the iOS. And then you also have the ability to do side loading for the Android users that can side load their apps from the outside of the Play Store without any much interference from or hiccups, right? But unfortunately, you cannot do this in the iOS. So in terms of the iOS prioritizes not just the launch of the application, but the quality of the application as well. The app quality in iOS are often optimized for the platform, so bear that in mind. And then as a result of that, it will offer you a smoother operating experience. Developers tend to release newer apps and features in the iOS because of the iOS is kind of consistent with the hardware, again, for the user base, which I was saying. Because iOS is mostly produced or used by Apple device, it is only Apple device that I know that uses iOS. When they do their app releases or their app updates, it hits all the phones that is supported, right? But you will find some difficulty. Maybe they will release an update in Android, and then that update, if it's for Facebook, will get notification in Google phones, and then afterwards Samsung and all that. Yes, so those are part of the few nuances around the applications. But again, applications in the Apple system is also powered by the Apple Store, and Apple Store again is known for their strict guidance, especially for application developers that develop this app. They will have a stricter guidelines while developing applications for the App Store versus the Google Play Store. So iOS in this category offers a more curated Apple experience, while Android provides greater varieties and flexibility. But the choice here depends on you and whether you value the app quality over the app variety that goes beyond the App Store. But for me, I would prefer the app quality, and then I will give iOS the lead in this category. When you come to ecosystem, it is also a place where we had a lot of contentions, because some people who prefer to go the Samsung, Google Pixel, or whatever route they choose to go, Xiaomi and Huawei, and a lot of Android device companies, they have their own ecosystem. But one thing I would say is, for me, it is a pure win for the Apple iOS. And the reason is Apple ecosystem is renowned for its seamless integration across all the devices that they support. So it's not just their phones, their iPad, and also the MacBook that I'm using. You can be able to transfer files very easily with things like AirDrop, and also you can do hands-off or continuity features with this, and it works seamlessly. Now, the Apple iPhones, this is the 14 Pro Max. For the 15 Pro lineup, I don't have my 15 Pro right here with me. It offers you USB-C to USB-C, so having that bears in mind that you will be using mostly a particular single cable to power all your devices. But I still have the Lightning cable for my 14 Pro and the lower devices that comes before the 14 Pro in terms of the iPhones, right? But the iPad and the MacBook has had the opportunity or the feature of you using the USB-C to USB-C to charge them without any hiccup or transfer data through those cables as well. But make no mistake about it, the MacBook was designed natively to use the MagSafe charger, but you can also charge it and use the USB-C to transfer your data. Now, when you come to the Android ecosystem, because of the variety of the devices that this caters to, right, it makes it kind of very easy to integrate with Google services, because Google is the developer of the Android operating systems. The ecosystem is not as tightly integrated as Apple, bear that in mind, but it is more open. You are not restricted whatsoever. You can be able to do a lot of things that Apple will restrict you from doing in this. And also, when you talk about the third-party devices, Android is more open in nature, and it allows you to work with third-party devices such as smartwatches. So I believe you can pair your Google Pixel watch to a Samsung device, and then it will still work seamlessly. But you might find it difficult to do that with your Apple Watch as well. Pairing it with other devices that Apple does not support might be problematic. So if you're already invested in a lot of Apple products, this will be a very, very solid win in terms of this category. But if you're someone who is interested in exploring or having the variety of devices at your choice without being restricted to any brand, I think the ecosystem category will definitely go to Android for you. But for me, I am the Apple guy, so I have my Mac, iMac, and iPad, and I have my iPhone also as my primary phone. So in this category, it will be the Apple. Now let's talk about excitement. In this category, it depends on the excitement. But for me, because Apple launches their phones just once a year, right? It creates a huge excitement around the August-September period for Apple, because that's when we know the iPhones launch. So the launch event of Apple in terms of that is a highly anticipated event, and then each new iPhone releases draws a very, very global attention, not just in the United States, but globally. The excitement around the iOS also is partly driven by Apple's ability to generate a hype through carefully crafted marketing and the innovative practices that they do to make sure that people are excited about their new product. And also new features that the iOS offers sometimes brings in a very polished and well integrated features, though some users feel that the platform has become more of incremental over the years, and also some people also feel like Apple is copying the Android operating system a lot more these days to be able to compete with the users in the market that are going for these smartphones. So bear that in mind. But for the Android counterpart, because of the diverse offerings, Android's excitement comes from the variety of devices or companies and the features that is offered by different manufacturers, not just one like Apple. Each year brings a slew of innovative devices, so they have a lot of devices, right? Coming from Google, coming from Samsung, coming from Xiaomi, coming from a lot of manufacturers. Then it's from the foldable phones. They have also the foldable phones in terms of Android devices, and they have the flip phones as well. Apple just this one screen. We'll maintain that, and then we'll give you the best experience in that. But Android counterparts offers the variety, but then because of the variety and they have a lot of companies that are utilizing this operating system, basically it reduces the excitement. So in terms of the excitement, iOS maintains a very consistent level of excitement through its yearly updates, new features, and then new product launch. However, Android's excitement comes from the diversity that their innovative products bring. For example, the flip phones, the foldable phones, and all that, and also the wide variety of manufacturers that they cater to provides some sort of excitement, but not as more pronounced than as Apple. So in this category, I will give the excitement category to Apple. Now, when you talk about the affordability, again, these phones are now very, very expensive to own. For example, you will be spending $1,000 and above to get the premium iPhone lineup from the Pro Max, from the Pro lineup, normal Pro and the Pro Maxes, depending on the storage that you choose. This will cost you between $1,000 then up. For the Samsung is the same thing. This S23 Ultra, you'll be looking at around $1,300 and above, depending on the storage option that you choose. The Google Pixel, they'll just launch their Pixel 9 Pro, and then it starts at $999, which is $1,000 and above, depending on the storage and the option that you choose. They have the Pro XL as well. So if you factor all this in, you will see that the phone, finally has grown in terms of the pricing of these phones. And we hope that these prices will start falling, because as the smartphone industry has plateaued, you will be getting almost the same device experience in that are now going to be a little more affordable than when those releases were done back in the day. So, but looking at this, I would say that I will give the affordability to the Android, because Android caters to a wide variety of manufacturers, and some of those manufacturers are not the $1,000 price tag, right? You can get an Android phone for $100. You can get an Android phone for $200 or $300. You can get another Android phone for $500, $600 range, and so on and so forth, until you get to $1,500 range, right? But in terms of Apple, you will just get the basic iPhone, which I believe starts around $500 to start for starting. So already cutting off a lot of users who will fall into the $100 to $400, $500 category, cutting them off. And then after the normal iPhones, then you will get to the Pro model, which will be more expensive. So in terms of the affordability, you have a lot more options with the Android counterparts versus the Apple counterpart. So I will give the affordability to Android. This will be wrapping up the video, so bear that in mind. The iOS is developed by Apple and primarily used for Apple's iPhones and then their iPads as well. They are well known for their easy to use, and also they are also well known for their updates and support that they provided, and the app quality, the application quality, and the ecosystem is where they win in these categories that I explored. But then if you are talking about the Android counterpart, the Android is always going to be feature friendly. They will offer you more features, they will offer you more customizability, and also depending on how or what you use your phones for. The app variety also, it's something that if that's what you prefer over the app quality, then this also wins in that category. And then for the fact that you have a lot of varieties of phones that you can get with this, then I would definitely say that they won the affordability category. So that's it. And the Android is also developed by Google. It is used by varieties of manufacturers in the various device platforms, and then it will give you a more open use case. You can sideload apps that are not in the Play Store here. You cannot do that in the App Store. And you can also do a lot of integrations with maybe some other Android devices that are supported. But in terms of the variety, flexibility, customizability, features, and affordability, I will give those to Android. But if you, in terms of the easy to use and app quality, ecosystem, and excitement, is where I will give all those to Apple. Thank you.